Okay, students, how are we doing? Are we okay? As you understand, this set of videos, it's just meant to help you go along. It is important that you go into the Canvas page and actually read through these things, okay? I went very lightly over the syllabus, but there's a lot of information in there, and it's important you read it because that's kind of like our contract, okay? If you choose to download the copy of the syllabus, it's also going to include the schedule of activities, in other words, the itinerary for the course. And in a next section, I'll probably talk about that a little more. So right now, I want to talk about the organization of the Canvas course shell. So let's go there. Okay, so this is our homepage again. And don't forget, on the right, you'll typically have a display of the different assignments that are due. They're already showing here on the page because they've already been placed in the published version of the course shell. Okay, what you want to do is up here on the left side in the course navigation bar, there is a link called modules, this tab. If you open it, you can see how the course is organized. And I'm going to help you out here. I'm going to collapse everything here. So we're going to be starting essentially by looking at the top sections here. So each one of these bars represents a module or a section in the course, okay? I'm going to talk in this section about the before we begin and the general course resources one. But if you look here, I have the course organized into two big blocks of modules. The first one is a set of modules where you can follow the course on a week-by-week basis. So for example, if you open the week 1 activities module, you can see all of the things that you have to work on and are going to be due on that week, plus all of the lecture content that I recommend that you cover during that first week. And you can go here through the course, looking at these, all these different weekly activities. Now, after that, there's another block where you can navigate by units. So for example, you might not remember, when did we talk about compounds? I need to review that. Well, in here, you can find the compounds module and all the materials there. The intro, the PowerPoint, and the lecture videos are in there. Also, if you simply want to download one of the PowerPoints, they're all in here in this section. Don't forget that actually from the home page, you can also navigate to the bottom of the home page on this dashboard, and you could actually look up the unit of compounds, click it there, and it'll take you specifically to the module for that unit 3, which is compounds. Okay, so I hope that really helps you in terms of navigating. I want to point out that at the bottom here, there is a section called the community at LBCC. As I mentioned earlier, you know, LBCC is invested in your success. We don't want for anything to get in the way of you succeeding. So if you have any problems, you know, with housing, food, things like that, there's a lot of resource links in this section here. And of course, there will be announcements that I post periodically about some of the things that LBCC is doing to help the community, okay? Let's go back up here to the module that says before we begin. So everything that's in here, literally before we begin, is what you need to look at before we start classes. There's actually an assignment you have to perform before we start classes. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Of course, our current videos are not posted yet, but they'll eventually land in here in this section here. And each one of these subsections within a module, we call them pages, all right? So this is the one where you're gonna be able to see all these videos that I'm doing right now. I strongly recommend that you watch this one here and that you download the student app for Canvas. It'll put it in your device or in your mobile device. And the important thing about that is that if you use it, it will help you get to me a little quicker. I respond very quickly to messages that I get in my inbox of Canvas because I also have the app on my mobile phone. And so it automatically notifies me of any messages in there. Of course, as you look in the syllabus, you can also email me. There is a number there for texting me. There's a number there for voice messages. All of those, I'll respond, just not as quickly perhaps as the inbox messages, okay? Now, as I mentioned, some of the assignments that you're going to be doing in the class, you're going to be doing by yourself, and you're going to have to upload into the corresponding assignment box in Canvas. Please read this page here, which tells you some ways to convert, pictures into PDFs, and also ways to upload them into the Canvas system. Okay, very important that you watch that. Okay, for your experiments, you're going to be responsible for turning in lab reports. As I said earlier, for this semester, it may be that you'll turn them in hard copy. It may be that I'll have you upload them into Canvas. That decision is not made yet. Please watch out for instructions either in announcements before the semester starts or on the first day of activities when we meet for the first time, okay? But it's important that you learn how to properly handle the data that you collect, the data that you report, the way you format your lab reports. It's very important to be organized, and don't forget, you are writing the lab report as if it were for an outside person, not for me, okay? So anybody outside should be able to read your lab report and understand what you did. The next page here tells us about Excel and graphing. We'll talk about that on the second day of activities of in-person meetings. In some cases, I will put comments in your uploaded assignments, and this page tells you how to view instructor comments on an assignment. Some of the activities that you're going to do, including the first one that you'll do before we start the semester, are done on a platform called Labster. Labster is a simulations platform, and it's important that you go through this video as a general guide so that you can do these activities. There's going to be just a few of them, and actually, the extra credit assignments are going to be Labster simulations, but there is one that you need to do. This is another video I need you to watch before we start the semester. On the first day of activities, we're going to go through some lab techniques stuff. Many of you have not stepped into a lab in a couple of years. You may have forgotten some of the basic techniques of working with equipment and glassware in the lab. And so I want you to get a chance to practice. We'll do that on the first day. But before that, please watch this video about how to use an analytical balance. Similarly, if you have forgotten, you can watch these videos about lab safety. It's very important that we keep things safe in the lab. We don't want to have any accidents. Now, just a warning, these videos are very thorough. Oh, sorry about that. These videos are very thorough, and it might be a little heavy to watch. So feel free to skip a few sections where we don't do all the stuff they talk about here. They're very comprehensive, but you are responsible for knowing the guidelines about lab safety before we start the semester, although we'll review them. Now, this assignment here is actually locked at the time of recording this video, but it'll open on the week before we start classes. This is a Labster simulation. You'll go in there and it'll walk you through several things in terms of lab safety. You can pause and restart basically as long as you finish it all before the due date, which is the first day of classes, you'll be fine. This will be scored and your score will be carried over into your gradebook. And just like any other lab activity, it is worth a total of 20 points, okay? So make sure that you do that as soon as it opens. Okay, let me go back here to our modules. And once more, If you have any questions, all right, if you have any questions, I will cover all this in more detail on our day 1. Okay, so I hope that helped you to understand a little bit of the navigation. In the next section, I'm going to take you through how to work with the assignments and then how to look at the schedule of activities of our course. All right, thank you.